They understood the psychological effect this would have on the masses.
Sweet mother of Jesus.
There's some bad news.
The movie starts with a girl wearing a hoodie who orders a burger and a drink. When the waitress sees the girl's face, she reacts strangely and tells her the total. The girl hands over the money with her right hand, which misses 2 fingers. Inside the cafe, a boy asks his mother why the girl looks like that. Although the mother tries to change his attention to his food, he keeps asking about her. Because the girl is upset with the way the people are looking at her, she shouts at them and leaves without getting her food. At school, a boy named Bradley receives a costume party invitation for Saturday in his locker and goes to the classroom. When Bradley enters the classroom, the teacher is teaching how the Han dynasty used to kill or leave a scar on their enemies. Bradley sits behind a guy named Ravi and starts bullying him. The teacher notices his actions and orders him to switch his seat with his friend Bernard. However, after Bradley switches his seat, he continues bullying Ravi. 3 mean girls, Heather, Bridget, and Kelly, are walking through the school while chatting about their costumes for the upcoming party. As they pass by, they spot Emily at her locker and decide to bully her because she wasn't invited to the Saturday costume party.
Yeah, some guys like freaks. Yeah, Emily, don't you want to have fun?
Meanwhile, another kid, Dane, who is also being bullied, and his friends are frustrated about not being invited either. So they come up with a plan to make the popular kids face consequences for their actions. Dane and his friend Jack are in the yard of Dane's nephew, Workley. They are preparing bear traps in the backyard for their revenge plan. While they are working, a neighbor named Parker sees them and comes to them to ask about Workley. Dane tells Parker that Workley passed away months ago, and he left his house for Dane. The next day, Emily and Ravi are discussing Dane's plan with their friends in the cafeteria when Bernard throws a milk carton at Ravi, bullying him during their conversation. Afterward, a popular guy named Curtis approaches them to share news about landing his first TV commercial job and invites them to his shoot. He asks Ravi for help in recording behind-the-scenes footage for his shoot. During the Curtis video shoot, Bradley and Bernard break Ravi's camera and bully him. Dane comforts Ravi, assuring him that they will get what they deserve very soon. The next time at school, Curtis gets into a fight with Bradley because he bullied Ravi at the shoot. Dane, being indecisive, puts a gun to his head to commit suicide, but after thinking about it, he puts down the gun, assuring himself that he will not be afraid, and gets revenge as he planned. When Jack is heading out from his home, his father is fixing a car. Jack stops his way and tells his father that he leaves a letter that explains why he is going to torture the bullies and farewells him. But Jack's father doesn't look up and listen to what Jack is saying. In Dane's house, Dane and Jack set up cameras and accessories for the party. Then Dane takes Jack to another place. Dane shows Jack the firearms he prepared to avenge the bullies. The bullied outcasts gather around a campfire and talk about their family problems and their feeling about what they are doing.
The truth is, sometimes you just suffer.
Heather tells her friends Bridget and Kelly that she does not want to go since she has a bad feeling, but they insist they will not go if she doesn't, and they leave for the costume party. The outcasts change their costumes and hold hands to pray for God to give them a sign if they should stop their plan.
And with one sign from you, we will call off our plans.
Meanwhile, a traffic policeman stops Bradley and his friends on their way to the party. They hand him half of the weed they have been smoking in the car and continue on their way. At the party, all dressed up in disguising costumes, they spot Curtis at the party, and they discuss making sure nothing happens to him. Emily drugs the punch bowl to knock out everyone after drinking. When everyone is passed out, they collect their car keys and tie them up. When the victims awake, the bullied outcasts start torturing them. They start their revenge on Miles by shooting him in the face with a cattle gun. Tommy asks Dane why they chose them to torture, and Dane says they all used to ask this question themselves for years, and now it is their turn to ask this question. They take Miles into another dark room. When Dane asks if anyone wants to be released, Tommy volunteers. Tommy asks them to release Nadia as well, but Dane doesn't allow it. Tommy tells Nadia that he loves her and tells others that he'll ask for help and come back. After Tommy leaves, Dane tells Nadia that Tommy has been cheating on her with Heather. Tommy steps into a bear trap while he's running, and the outcast they bring back puts him in the dark room where Miles is. Jack starts playing guitar, while Ravi stabs Bernard with a sword and pours a drug into his mouth. While Bernard is immobilized by a drug, Emily tortures him by stabbing him with needles from his neck to his chest. Then they drag him to the dark room. Curtis unties himself and manages to escape. When he runs, Dane attempts to shoot him, but Ravi attacks him. Dane, who wants nothing more than revenge, gets pissed off because Ravi gives the key to Curtis to unlock the chain in his hands and escape of Ravi's betrayal, so he stabs him in the chest. The rest of the outcasts get shocked by Dane's action. Emily runs to check on Ravi. Meanwhile, Curtis is running in the forest, while 3 people on the motorcycle are chasing him. Curtis spots the traffic policeman and asks him for help. Even though Curtis tries to tell him they're killing people there, the policeman points a gun at him and asks him to stay still. The people shoot at the officer, and Curtis takes the officer's gun and runs. While Emily watches Ravi's dead body, Jack comes and tells her it is time to finish their work. Emily tells Jack that Dane didn't have any right to do this to Ravi. Heather is tied to a chair and gagged with a ball gag while Emily applies a dangerous compound to her face. Dane tells her that the compound will make her not feel anything at first. Rather, it will slightly tingle, and then she will feel a mild burn. After a while, it'll begin to eat her flesh.
At first, she won't feel anything but a cool sensation.
Dane informs them that Curtis was able to locate a police officer, but unfortunately, he can't help them because the officer has been shot. When Bradley tries to stand up, Dean punches him with his firearm. Bradley asks Dean to take off his mask, and Dean shows him who he is. Curtis goes to Parker's house to get help, but Parker doesn't believe him. He orders him to put his gun down, and he punches him on the head with his firearm back to knock him off. Bradley begs to not hurt him. While Bradley begs Emily, Bridget identifies Emily under her mask, and Emily takes off her mask with a smile, and the other outcasts do the same as well. Bridget apologizes for what she did and begs her to stop what they are doing. Emily tells her that she will not hurt her since she begged. However, she has to cut off Bradley's fingers to be saved. Bridget refuses to do so. Emily asks Bradley to cut off all of Bridget's fingers in order to save himself, but Bradley only manages to cut off Bridget's 2 fingers. Parker ties Curtis up inside his house because he suspects him as a thief. Parker tells Curtis he is an ex-soldier so he can fool him. When Parker tells Curtis he's an ex-soldier, he tries to convince him that he can be a hero again by saving them. After seeing Parker's patches on the wall, Curtis makes up a story and tells him his grandfather also died in Vietnam. Then Curtis uses it to convince him to let him go. Emily smears the same corrosive compound she applied to Heather on half of Bridget's face and forces her to cut off Bradley's fingers, but Bridget chooses to suffer rather than cut off her friend's fingers. Bridget shivers in severe pain of the compound in her face, and they drag her to the dark room. Parker heads out of his house to investigate what Curtis told him, but he's trapped and severely injured his leg. Despite his injuries being severe, he manages to kill the outcast that comes to him in the forest. Curtis frees himself, calls the police, and returns to Dane's house. Dane, who only thinks about getting revenge, no matter how much Bradley apologizes for his actions, can't stop making him suffer. He stabs Bradley severely in the back with a switchblade and injures his spinal cord, making him paralyzed in his lower body. When another outcast checks Parker, he manages to stab and kill him. Dane tells Riggs that he's considering letting go and not hurting him because, when they were sophomores, Riggs offered him a ride in the rain. However, Riggs shouts that he doesn't care what Dane will do to him, which makes Dane angry. Curtis finds Parker in the forest, and Parker reveals that he managed to kill 2 of the attackers. He then apologizes to Curtis for not believing him. Parker tells him to save his friends, warning Curtis that he will regret it if he does not act. Curtis encourages Parker to hang in there and to head to Dane's house. Curtis arrives while Jack and Andy are attempting to cut Riggs's tongue. Dane tells Curtis to leave without causing any trouble, as they have no issue with him. However, Curtis refuses and points his gun at Jack and Andy. Dane orders Andy to cut Riggs's tongue and then fires a shot at Curtis. Dane gets close to where Curtis fell and points his firearm at him, but unexpectedly Emily shoots him in the back and kills him. Emily says her last word to Kelly, that she only wanted to be friends with her. Then Emily passes a gun to Jack and turns around, and Jack shoots her in the back. The police barge through the door and shout at Jack to drop the weapon, but Jack says, there are more like us out there.
There are more like us out there.
The next day, the police find the tortured students in the dark room where the outcasts dragged and put them. Kelly, who was unharmed, takes a large number of pills in the school's restroom. At school, Curtis exchanges glances with the remaining outcast. In the movie's final scene, it is revealed that the disfigured girl from the beginning is Bridget. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next one. Fear awaits you.